Hello. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Still disembodied. Let's see. Still just a disembodied pair of hands. Don't apologize for adjusting the camera. I had it moved over my desktop. A little bit different today because I am still completely dead inside after getting back from Adepticon, which is awesome. Had a great time there. I still don't have a face cam set up for this whole streaming setup because I just got back 2 days ago. Feels like I just got back. Got back at around 10:30 Sunday morning and took a nap till 6 p.m. Sunday night. Got up to feed Shoko, fed her, and then I was back in bed by 9. I slept a ton. I was absolutely exhausted, but we had an amazing time. This was the first year it was in Milwaukee, which, for the uninitiated, Adepticon, historically, the years that I've gone, has been at the Renaissance Convention Center in Schaumburg, which is a suburb nearby where I grew up. I always stayed at the hotel, even when I was living here in Chicago and around the suburbs there, just because I feel like in order to really get the most out of a con, it is best to be there and be present, especially for the Adepticon with lugging miniatures back and forth. It's really nice to just put it in the room. So this year, the convention center, it moved to the Baird Center in Milwaukee, which is where Midwest Gaming Classic is next weekend. Unfortunately, not making it to that. And it's where Anime Milwaukee has been historically. And by historically, I mean I think the last few times. Never gone to Anime Milwaukee either. Yeah, we got in on Wednesday night. Some of our group goes to the Games Workshop official Adepticon previews. Myself, I typically do not. I just kind of get settled in that first night. The previews aren't going to tell me anything that isn't going to be on an Auspex Tactics video like 10 minutes after the preview is announced. So I've never done the previews. Some guys are into it. Some of our group, they go to the preview every year, and then they always say they're not going to do the preview next year, and then they do the preview again. So we'll see if they finally stick through that. I have my doubts. First day there, our group participated in it's the first time people were running this event. It was called 40K Flex, and the only way I can describe it is organized casual play, which was honestly really nice. To be honest, I'm not actually interested in the tournament scene, especially for 40K. Maintaining a tournament list just sounds like a lot of work. It's not really the way I like to enjoy the game. I view 40K, I like it more as a kind of role play vehicle. I like the idea of, I like the narrative elements of 40K. I like the dice and the models tell stories. I don't really care if my win percentage in the game is, 20% or 40 or 50%. As long as I get to put my captain that I painted and give him my special name, he's on the table and he gets to punch some people, and we get to have a good time about it. So I'm also just not really happy with the state of the game generally. The rules are much more focused on trying to make some tightly balanced competitive game than something fun and narrative. That being said, the 40K Flex event was 2,000 points, which I still think is too big of a game. It's a big game. It was all day, or like 8-ish hours, and we barely got through 2 games. didn't even get through the games. We did the first 2 battle rounds of 2 games. But it was nice to play sort of in the convention hall on nice tournament tables without having to deal with all of the tournament garbage of finally measuring everything, making sure everything's all what you see is what you get. It was organized casual play, which is nice. Got to meet some new people, talk to them, talk about how their armies are painted, learn a lot. First game I played was against a Eldar player, which in all of my years of playing Warhammer, which sounds like a lot, though there was a big hiatus between when I did it as a kid and now. First time playing against an Eldar player. So that was fun. And then my second game, I got paired with one of the guys in our group, which was still fun. It wasn't the guy I usually play with, the one I see the most. So, still playing with a different person. The list did not do particularly well because I just kind of took whatever Blood Angels I had painted to make it to 2,000 points. So there was no list coherency, no strategy at all. I was playing the Blood Angels themed army when I should have been doing the armored spearhead list attachment, the one that's built for tanks, because bringing tanks is how I filled out the 2,000 points. And even then, not everything was fully painted. Some of it just had the red base coat on. The Predators that I've worked on stream in the past are still not done. We'll get there. I'm motivated to paint a lot now, so I do want to get that stuff finished. After that, that night, my friend and his brothers have been developing a miniatures game using these 3D prints by, I believe the artist, the website is Becca 3D, BECCA_3D. She's designing kaiju-inspired Pokemon models that look amazing. They 3D print up really nice, and as a quick aside, I'm amazed at how quickly 3D printing has evolved from, I remember when they first came out, when were first becoming a big thing, people talking about how, oh, this is gonna, put Games Workshop injection molding out of business because it's so much faster and cheaper, and you don't have to ship the models all over the place, you just 3D print them. And the stuff that came out of the 3D printers honestly looked like garbage. It was good for like tokens, proxies, placeholders, but nowhere near the level of detail of a Games Workshop model. And while still the injection molding is higher detail than a 3D print, they're getting pretty close. Especially these Kaijumon 3D prints that my friends did for the game that they're developing. And we played a couple rounds. They're looking for feedback on it. They've only been working on it since Christmas, so a couple months. And they definitely have a very good core. They have a great core idea for a miniatures game. Definitely still needs a lot of tweaks, some fine-tuning, figuring stuff out here or there, but their core gameplay loop, they struck this perfect balance of inspired by Pokemon, but not just recreating Pokemon battles in miniature form. A lot of the attacks and moves and actions are inspired by moves from the games, but they do their own thing. The core mechanic from the games that they really captured well is, at least currently with their one-on-one battle format, it is a lot of switching and trying to anticipate your opponent's switches and actions, which that's how you do a Pokemon battle in singles. Brilliant. The models look great that they 3D printed. I've encouraged them to get in touch with the artist to show them the game that they're working on and how far they've come. And their paint jobs were incredible. I'm gonna order them to order. I'm going to ask them and pay to get them to print me up a couple sets so that I can paint them myself, because I just love making more work for myself. But yeah, that was the first day of Adepticon. Second day. What did we do the second day? What did we do the second day? That was Friday. I don't think... Oh, there's one other thing I did on Saturday, or on Thursday that I forgot. I did take a painting class. And I'm gonna be honest, my feedback on it, it was not... I don't want to say it was bad, but it was a $70 charge to get into the painting class on top of, just our regular Adepticon fees. And, they had this Necron... Actually, let me go grab it. I will be right back. There it is. The painting class, they provided this model for us to practice on. And they talked us through some two-brush blending methods. First of all, I didn't know I was supposed to bring my own brushes, so I didn't. I had to use their cheap hobby brushes, but that only worked for an initial part, not the two-brush blending part. And... how do I put this? Teaching is a performance art. It's not enough to just have the information and regurgitate it. You have to present it in an engaging way to get stuff to stick and for people to really absorb and learn it. And you need to play to your audience, know your format, know how you're presenting information, all of that. This didn't tell me anything I couldn't have gotten off of a YouTube video for free, and for watching an ad, other than providing with this model to practice on. This was prepared by a method that he then repeated to us verbally, which he didn't have it written down, so I don't actually know what the name of the product is that he put on this. It was prepared by sponging brown and orange paints, so underneath this it's all brown and orange. And then it was called like mold goo. I don't quite recall. I'm gonna try and figure out what it was called. Puts that on unevenly, and then sprays it black, and then gets this blue base coat. And what that mold slime thing does is it creates bubbles in the paint, so that later you can rub it off with like sticky tack, and it'll catch and flake off and chip and create realistic paint chipping effects, because that's exactly what it is. It's just paint chipping. And that's how they got this realistic looking rust to chip. The other method he tried to tell us was about some two brush blending to get some yellows and browns on top of the blue. Obviously the blend back here did not go well. I did okay blending on, I think, this panel. Still was not happy with it, and I only got like 30 seconds of the instructor's time to look over what I was doing and provide feedback, and didn't get much useful feedback other than that looks okay. And the other thing, as he was telling us about this rust effect and going over, he points out that, yeah, this barricade is blue. Blue, obviously being a complementary color to orange, the rust effect really pops when you trip it off. He then told us you need to use blue, grays, and that this effect doesn't work with red, so don't paint your models red. I play Blood Angels. All of my models are bright, vibrant, candy red. So I tried to ask him, like, well, obviously I'm painting my models red. What if I do this process, but instead of the rust undercoat, it's working with silvers, so that the silver, when the paint chips, it's, you know, silver, like bare metal, not rusted metal, bare metal. And he just told me not to paint my models red and said, this effect won't work with red. Like, he wasn't actually listening to the question about how to use this paint chipping effect with different colors. He seemed to just fixated on just do this rust effect with blue. Which again, I paid $70 for the class, and this is what I got from it. It'd be one thing if I was able to sit down and actually talk to a skilled painter to learn more advanced painting techniques, because I do want to improve my painting. Especially when it comes to weathering, my models always look clean, and that's not because I have this incredible skill at painting. That's because I have no confidence on how to do weathering in a way that I like, especially because I don't want my Marines to look like they've been on the battlefield for a year straight. I just want, you know, a little bit here and there, so it doesn't look like they're fresh off the battle barge. So that was the class. On to the next day. Friday, our only event was Heroes of the Hinterland, which is it's a rule set that was printed in White Dwarf for 3rd edition Age of Sigmar, for doing like cooperative dungeon crawls. So you get 5 hero characters, and not like named hero characters, just the mid-tier, run-of-the-mill, generic characters. I played using just a Soulblight Vampire Lord. I used my Alucard model for it, which the DM for the campaign actually recognized as Alucard, so I got to talk to him about Symphony of the Night, which is awesome, because in addition to talking about Warhammer forever, I can also talk about Castlevania forever. So, and it was just a fun mission. You know, we were kind of goofing around, we were playing loose and fast with the rules. Anytime a character died, which Alucard died in the first round by charging a pack of squigs, which then suicide exploded when they died. We were just like, oh yeah, you come back after the rest in between rounds. We were just goofing around. Excuse to throw dice, say silly things, make funny noises. All around good time. It was very much like the like playing pretend as a kid with the I have a force field and I have this, but you unlike that, you just tie it to dice rolls and everything is everyone just agrees to be cool about things and not act like an actual 8-year-old. A lot of fun. After that, I think that was my friends had a Gaslands event, which Gaslands is an incredible minis game that uses Hot Wheels. It was also the first time of these people running the Gaslands event. I did not participate. I went dumpster diving. And by dumpster diving, I mean I finally got to go to my favorite store at Adepticon, which is the Toledo Game Room. The guy there sells old Warhammer minis, which are my favorite kind of minis. And every year, the store just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. He has more and more metal models. He even had, at one point, just this tray probably about the size of this cutting mat, just completely filled with metal Kazarkin. The Imperial Guard, Stormtroopers, the old metal kit, another one of my favorite old metal kits. I was very excited to at least see them. If nothing else, I just love browsing through his collection of old models for sale. And I have some goodies that I purchased from him, because I do every year, that I'm going to show off later after recapping the event. He also just has bins full of plastic bags and bits, which is great if buying bits can get annoying. Looking for a single hammer, a single banner, a single gun, or something. There are stores that sell them, but usually, go figure, the one you're looking for is out of stock because it's in high demand. Everybody wants Thunder Hammers, everybody wants Power Fists. If you're Blood Angels, everyone wants more Inferno Pistols. So and so. That night, on Saturday, we, as a group, signed up for the Spearhead Tournament, the Age of Sigmar introductory game where you play with the box sets that we actually really enjoy. It's a lot of fun. It is, so far, the first time Games Workshop has put out a game. I know there's some that I've missed, though this is kind of mainline. This is the Age of Sigmar models that you play with. They put out a game that I actually like the game for what it is. 40K, I like it for the setting. The game is an excuse to put models on the tabletop. Spearhead, even if I wasn't painting the models myself, which is part of the fun of miniature wargaming, the game itself of Spearhead, it's just fun. It's just a good, tightly designed board game. So, we haven't played in a while. We're doing a tournament the next day. We gotta review the rules, remember how to play. So we just went into the open gaming area, which thankfully, now that it's at Milwaukee and the Baird Center, and it's a much bigger space, they had so many more open gaming tables, not just at the convention center, but all the hotels also had open gaming rooms. We were able to find a table. In the past, at the Schaumburg location, that has been an issue. So we sat down, and I played a game of Spearhead against my friend Kevin, and he was in that loopy stage of being tired. He was a sleep-deprived goblin, and he absolutely wiped the floor with me. I lost so badly to him. He plays Cities of Sigmar. He has a very beautifully painted teal turquoise army, which is a color you don't see very often, and he nailed it on his paint job compared to my Soulblight Gravelords, which I'm happy with how my skeletons turned out. Don't get me wrong. The Blood Knights and Vargeists that I painted for this, I got the bare minimum on them just to be legal for the event. I will be touching them up going forward. And it's a standard red and black color scheme, which looks nice. It's just not very unique. So he completely wipes the floor with me. We called a day. The next day, bright and early, Spearhead tournament. Starts at 9, goes to 5:30. It's 5 rounds. The people who were running it, hosting it, were putting games on their live stream. The YouTube channel is the Hobby Collab. My friends, out of the 2, 3, 6, out of the 6 of us that were playing in this event, 4 of us played on stream. I should have put a link to that in the video description for the game that I played on stream. So if you want to check me out actually playing some Age of Sigmar Spearhead on camera with my face, you can see what I look like. I know I have face cam when I play video games, and I do want to get a face cam here. Though currently being a talking pair of hands is fun. Played on stream. The game I played on stream was a tie. I had a lot of fun with it, though. So much fun that I got this. I actually ended up placing second overall in the Spearhead tournament, which shocked me. Those 5 games, I think, are half of the games of Spearhead that I've played. So I had no expectation going in of performing well at all. It was, in fact, it wasn't until around game 3 out of 5 where I won, tied, and won again that I started to think I'm cooking. I might be able to come away with something, some hardware. So it was a blast. First round was against the first and second round were both against the same army, different players. It was the Stormcast Eternals half of the Skaventide box, with the Prosecutors, the Liberators, and whatever ridiculous name they have for the HQ choices, the heroes. Third game was against the Orcs, which was great. Shout out to Ethan, my opponent, who gave me a beer at the start of the game. And I thought, maybe he was trying to sabotage by getting his opponent drunk. Little did he know, he actually sabotaged himself, because if he didn't hand me that beer, I was going to start drinking the whiskey that I brought. Third round was against a man named Ethan. He had the wasn't the Gloomspire Gits. It was a goblin spearhead. I don't know what the name was. I should know these things. It was another good game. A lot of fun. And my last round was against Seraphon, the lizard people, which one of our friends has prepared me well. He has Seraphon. I've played with him a couple times. Actually, no, I don't. Did I play against him? I'm trying to remember. I don't think I actually did. We did a little tournament way back in, I think in the summer. Or was it the fall? Late summer, early fall. We did a tournament amongst ourselves in Madison, Wisconsin. Had a good time. So, walked away with this lovely medal. This thing's big. It is hefty. And that was the Saturday. After the tournament, we just kind of hung out, did Golden Demon. I looked through the used model store again. It flew by, but it was an amazing weekend. Best time I've had at Adepticon, and this is my 4th year doing it. So, what did I buy with all of my at the vendor hall and everything? First things first, if nothing else, the painting class. The painter recommended a brush brand. I saw it at the vendor hall. My number 2 brush that I use for non-metallics is looking a little rough around the edges, so I decided to pick up one of these brushes. We'll see how it performs and how I like it, or if the painter's advice is just as good as all the other advice he gave me, such as not painting my models red. Because I had such a fun time with Spearhead, I did buy this. This is not a Spearhead. I can't even fit it on the full screen. Fire and Jade gaming pack. This is just the game board and pieces that you play Spearhead on. It comes in like the Skaventide box, but if you don't have Skaventide, you have to buy it separately to have all the Spearhead supplies. Depending on how long I ramble on for, might start assembling the terrain on stream. It's a couple parts. I just gotta take it out and do it. On to the main event, which is the secondhand minis that I bought. First things first, I picked up a bag of just regular dudes, regular Space Marine intercessors. I don't actually own any of the, what my friends and I refer to as tactical intercessors. Battle line, Space Marines with bolters. And this was, I didn't want a whole squad of 10, which is how they come in the box, new on sprue, for like $60. This was a set of 5 for 30. Already assembled, which I do normally prefer to pose the models myself, but for Marines that are mostly just going to sit on the back line and hold objectives, pre-assembled is good enough. I may do some mild disassembly and reposing. This guy with the grenade launcher is looking a little awkward. Everybody else looks fine though. I don't know. I tried to put this one through the paint stripper, this grossly incandescent red one, and nothing came off. So I don't know. It looks like it's paint, but I don't know how they applied it, because it usually just comes right off in the super clean, and this didn't even flake. So I still will probably just paint over this, but I don't know what happened with this guy. Speaking of red, same with this one, where I can't tell if this is painted or it's just red plastic. There's some stuff up here that looks like it's got some paint on it. But this is just, I believe this is one of the Space Hulk Terminators. I got him because he was under $10, and the Terminators that I own were from 5th edition. It's the 5th edition plastic 5-man Terminator squad. Is one of my 2 10-man Terminator squads that I own. And back then, the Sergeant had to have a power sword. When they refreshed the Terminators for 10th edition, the new box set, the Sergeant can take a power fist. I didn't want to spend $80 or whatever on a whole new squad of 10 Terminators. So I just got this guy to stand in as a substitute. So, of being sort of the same Sergeant, just having a different loadout. So I'm going to paint him up as a Sergeant with the black shoulder pads, and he will be able to take his power fist instead of a power sword, which is also the same reason I bought this guy, which is also a single metal Terminator with a power fist. My squad of metal Terminators that I have has the Sergeant, again, with a power sword, which I'm really proud of the paint job I did on it. So, and this is actually a Deathwing Terminator from the Dark Angels. You wouldn't notice it if I didn't point it out, though. And even then, most people won't notice it. Same deal. Gonna paint him up as a Sergeant with the black shoulder pads and the power fist, and that way I have access to both war gear options. Terminators are fun models. They're big, chunky, easy to paint. They're just a joy. It's amazing how well the old Terminators still hold up, other than the fact that they are adorably small. Smaller than regular Space Marines now. So, same deal. Gonna paint him up just as a Sergeant. The next purchase, this was $10. This is the Space Marine Lieutenant, actually from the Indomitus box. Not the Indomitus, Dark Imperium. So I don't think they ever sold them individually. They sell a similar model individually, just with a slightly different pose, but same loadout. Again, for like $40. This was 10. I could keep him as a lieutenant with his current loadout, but I have plans. Stupid plans, but plans nonetheless. That I'm going to work with him and get myself a second foot slogging lieutenant. And speaking of foot slogging lieutenants, I also picked up this. I would call this the best deal I got, but I did find a better deal while digging through the Toledo Game Room shelves. So this is the Phobos lieutenant. He attaches to Phobos squads, incursors and infiltrators, of which I have one of each, one 5-man squad of each, made out of the Phobos Strike Team Kill Team box. And they frequently just get shot off the board quickly, and I thought maybe I could get a little more use out of them with a lieutenant, and I got him for $8. He was painted. I had to strip the paint off of him. I think his little antenna's broken. You wouldn't even notice it, and I made a head swap on him anyways. I got him for $8. He is 42 on the Games Workshop webpage. And it's a mono-pose model, so it's not like I could have built him and posed him any differently. So yeah, this was a steal, and would be the most exciting thing I picked up if it wasn't for something else, which we'll get to later. This was also on the shelf for, I think, $6 or $8. Didn't strip the paint off of him because it's just a black undercoat. This is, and his sword broke, his chainsword broke. It's just a Primaris Assault Intercessor. It's always helpful to have an extra guy. Just, you could, if you have a squad of 10, you can pick up an extra guy, paint him up as a sergeant, and now you have a squad of 10 or 2 squads of 5. Vice versa. If you have 2 squads of 5 with 2 sergeants, you get an extra guy, paint him up as a grunt, regular line marine, and now you can deploy as the full squad of 10 with 1 sergeant. Not that the sergeants matter. They do matter in assault intercessors because they do have unique loadouts. So it was just a cheap body, so I got it. It is always useful to just have a single guy. I remember when Games Workshop for the free mini of the month was just an assault intercessor. The day they were giving out that free mini, I was at the Warhammer store asking for it because I knew they were going to fly off the shelves, because just having a single guy, and I think I did exactly that. I turned him into a sergeant with a power fist, used some old parts, gave him a different helmet, gave him an old plasma pistol, and that's how I got my 10-man assault intercessor squad down to 2 5-man squads. This was another weird little one, which there's a method to my madness. This is a old assault marine, not a Primaris, he's got some Blood Angels upgrade kits on him, but he's got the Eviscerator, the 2-handed chainsword. The reason I picked him up is with the new Death Company kit, or upgrade sprue, Death Company squads can now take Eviscerators. I have 15 old Death Company models that are the little tiny marines. So I can paint this guy up as Death Company and throw him in with those squads with the Eviscerator, and now the squad is all the same size of marine while still being able to take the 2-handed chainsword. Again, this was also I think it was $5 or $6. And I still have a soft spot for this era of Space Marine. Rounding things out here, as I was digging through, I found one of the trays had the full spread of Blood Angels characters in metal, which is nice. I got a Captain Tycho. As soon as I saw him, I couldn't say no to him. I think the model is ugly. The character is stupid. It has never made sense to take him in a Blood Angels army list. And he kept around, the character was canonically dead in universe since the 3rd edition of 40k. He hung around until the 10th edition codex. They didn't even get rid of him with the index days. It took until the Blood Angels got their 10th edition codex for this model to finally be written out of the game. So naturally now is when I bought him. It's still, I have a lot of nostalgia for these models. It'll look great with the gold paint job using Vince Ventrula's Hobby Cheetah gold recipe. So very much looking forward to painting this one, along with the metal Lamarties. Now this is the second Lamarties model. He's had 3. I'm not a huge fan of the 3rd model. I bought the first model as a kid, and one of my friends, who was an idiot, we were kids, so no shade to Eddie wherever you are and whatever you're doing. But as we were stupid kids, I bought this model and had to mail order it. Just have them in stock at the Warhammer store. And this was before Amazon was ruling the universe and forcing us all into warehouses, and you could get stuff delivered right to your door all the time. So I waited a long time to get the old Lamarty's model, which was hideous. The bolt gun had a large metal gate for the injection mold, and as I was bending it, I realized oh, I'm bending the barrel. I should get a pair of hobby clippers to take it off. So I set the model down and said, "Hey, Steve, my other friend, can you get me the hobby clippers so I can get this metal off?" And Eddie just goes, "You don't need it," and picks it up, rips the metal off, and boom, rips the barrel right off the gun. So yeah, I had that kicking around for a while. I was very unhappy. Then years later, I bought the Finecast Lamarty's because I wanted Lamarty's. And I get the Finecast, it all looks okay, but the barrel is broken on the gun of the Finecast miniature too. Needless to say, I was really not happy. And then trying to order metal models like this on eBay, they charge $50-$60 for it. I still think I paid $35, $40 something for this, but being able to pick it up, look at it, see that the gun barrel is intact and everything looks good, I'm very excited to finally have Lamarty's painted and play with him on the tabletop. Very cool character, probably my favorite of the Blood Angels named characters. Hello, Shoko. Shoko is standing between me and the microphone right now, and she's about to step on the camera. Hello, girl. Anyways, really excited that I found this. Bought it. Like I said, they had the entire character spread, which also leads to the Metal Mephiston with his blow dryer of a plasma pistol. Again, very old model. The Blood Angels characters stuck around forever because other than the original Lamarty's model, these aged pretty well. Other than you got some scale issues, but Mephiston looked fine, Dante looked fine, Tycho looked fine, even though he didn't really fit into the way the army was designed. So, and I don't actually have the new Mephiston, who's big. He's a big boy. So I wanted to pick this up. They had Dante in metal. Already have that model. Did not see Corbulo, who I think is also written out of the rules right now. So never really had a desire for that model, other than his giant sippy cup. Regardless, happy to round out the collection a little bit. Very excited that I got them in metal and not Finecast for good prices. I can't wait to get them painted up and on the tabletop. Which leads me to another old metal purchase. This is a Metal Terminator Librarian. I have a Metal Terminator Chaplain. Don't have a Metal Terminator Captain. That is, I think, the last character of the command staff that I need in metal. But saw a good price on this. I frequently deploy my Terminators with a Librarian anyways. I think I actually use Calistarius, which is Mephiston before he became all vampire. So the scale's a little bit off, so I wanted to get a metal Terminator Librarian to go with him. May make some adjustments on this arm. He's kind of moving it back a little bit, swinging the axe back a little bit too much. Yeah, I still just love the details on these old metal models. Another one I'm looking forward to painting, and painting Librarians is a nice change of pace for me because I get to use blue on their armor instead of my usual red recipe. Moving on, I picked up another Tech Marine, which looks to have, when I pose him like this, it looks like he's got orangutan arms because his hand goes all the way down to his shin. This may not be, this is a metal arm, but I'd have to go check in the catalog. This may not be the arm that originally came with him. This doesn't seem to be the pistol that originally came with him either. It's glued on there. It's a plastic pistol for a metal model. I really like Tech Marines. I love the mechanic aesthetic. This one is a little less goofy than my Rogue Trader Tech Marine with his comically large screwdriver. This one's a little bit more serious, but he's still so adorable, so adorably small when compared to the modern size of a Space Marine. Look, he just comes up to his chest. So this adorable little squatty guy is going to be another Tech Marine for my army. I've realized that when going heavy with tanks, it's kind of go big or go home. One Tech Marine is not enough to keep pace with the tanks and to keep them all repaired and happy. So I decided I wanted another one. There was a specific one that I was looking for. The Tech Marine in full servo harness. He's got this huge, grim, dark Dr. Octopus thing going on. They had a couple of him in resin that seemed to be in okay condition, but again, I was really looking for metal, especially that model, because it's this big, chonky metal Space Marine that still, back in the day, came on a 25mm base, which was way too small for that model. Oh, I remember when everything came on 25mm bases. It was hilarious. Nothing could stand up. You had to weight down every single miniature with extra weights in the base. Oh, no problem. No, I'm just yapping, and that's all I'm probably going to do tonight. I'm not going to do a full painting stream. One other miniature I got from the secondhand store on Sprue. I don't quite know what this model is. I mean, it's just an intercessor. It's just a guy. He's got a fancy textured base. I kind of have an encyclopedic knowledge of all the miniatures that Games Workshop has produced for 40K. Not so much Age of Sigmar. This had to be a promotional item, something from a magazine or something. Again, it's just a single guy, which it's always useful to just have an extra guy, to have an extra body to use for spare parts or to turn into a sergeant, lieutenant, or even just another grunt. The last full miniature I bought, though, this is a real prize, is another Rogue Trader mini. So this one is so old that it is made with lead in the metal, so I can slowly poison myself. And this is a Space Marine equipped with a Shuriken catapult, which is a filthy Eldar Xenos weapon. And as many people have pointed out, back in the day, they didn't really have faction-specific war gear. Everyone just kind of shared. The aliens and the Imperium drove the same tanks. The Space Marines and the Imperial Guard drove the same tanks. It's, again, just one of those quirky old models. It's all one solid piece. No assembly required except for attaching a backpack. It's hideous, misshapen. Symmetry is just a suggestion. And I am here for it. I can't wait to get the paint stripped off him. And not sure what I'm going to do with him other than paint him and put him on my shelves. And be happy that he's there and exists. Don't know if I'm going to experiment with trying to paint him differently than, you know, maybe do another Space Marine chapter instead of Blood Angels. Or just keep him red, as is. That is it for the miniatures that I purchased. Onto some of the other stuff. Oh, I have one more miniature. I did not purchase this from the secondhand store. I just bought this new. Chicagoland Dice Dojo was there presenting at the con, selling stuff. I just wanted to support my boys, so picked up this box. It is the new Sanguinary Priest. My old Sanguinary Priest has a jump pack, which is no longer supported in the rules, and I have mixed thoughts about this model. Sanguinary Priests, in the lore, for the longest time, they were just the Blood Angels name for apothecaries, which was the Space Marine name for medics. And that was it. They didn't have a unique model. In 5th edition, with the release wave there, they had a Sanguinary Priest with this lovely cloak, this chiseled armor with the abs painted on or sculpted on that I loved. Big backpack, big crown thing that interfered with a jump pack, which made it really annoying because Sanguinary Priest with jump pack was a really high in demand HQ, and they specifically sculpted the model. I don't know if they intentionally sculpted the model, but the way the model was sculpted, it was difficult to put a jump pack on the model, even though in the rules you could do that. Yes, I do wish Dice Dojo was easier to get to. It's not bad for me. I do kind of live near the Red Line, but the Red Line station right by Dice Dojo is under construction, which makes it a little bit difficult. I don't know when that's scheduled to be wrapping up, though. So it'll be Good Games Chicago for me and for the foreseeable future. This model is okay. I think I still prefer the old one. Not being able to put a jump pack on the model at all. This works, though. This will be fun. I'm excited to give white a try again, now that I have more confidence with it, more recipes for it. Still a pain, but I'm excited to give it a try. I go back and forth because I want to experiment. I would love to try and get this with, instead of white, instead of this like medic white, have it be pearl. Like the armor looks like it's made out of pearls. I don't quite know how I'm going to achieve that effect. I have to do some more research on it. I think that would look really pretty, though, and help make this HQ stand out in the sea of red. So that's it for models I purchased. My proudest purchase, though, from the secondhand seller, are these bags of heads. The Sanguinary Guard kit recently got updated. I did buy the Combat Patrol for Blood Angels that comes with the updated Sanguinary Guard, but I haven't built them yet because they don't have wings anymore. So I bought some 3D printed wings to put on them because they need their wings. And then the new helmets, everybody has already said it online. They look like Handsome Squidward. And they're all the same. And it's dumb, and I don't like it, and the old ones are better. Unfortunately, I used all my old ones on the models that I currently have, and while they are poorly painted, and I want to paint them again, I kind of want to leave them as is. It's just a sort of reminder of how far I've come. But I also really wanted those heads. I thought about taking the heads off of them and reusing them. Fortunately, and these heads are sold out everywhere online. Can't get them anywhere. The kit, the old Sanguinary Guard kit, also sold out everywhere because everybody thought the new kit looked stupid and wanted to use these parts on the new kit to make it look nicer. So I was really excited to be able to get the new heads. It's probably a little too small to show up on camera, or to get the old heads, and just the heads. Each of these bags of 15 heads was $2. A single head is $1 online if you can even find them in stock, and I got 30 for $4. So it completely blows my, 80% off this model when I got a bunch of heads for basically free. So I'm really excited to finally put together the new Sanguinary Guard with the better heads and with wings, paint them up with Vince Ventrula's gold recipe. They're going to be grossly incandescent. You're going to be able to see them from across the game store on the table. They are going to shine. Very excited to be doing that after I finish painting my tanks and my spearhead and getting the decals on my squads. I got a lot of work to do. And now that Adepticon is over, though, I'm not going to be rushing to do it, which means I'm probably not going to do it at all. I will be, but my streams will not be painting as much. Probably going to transition to streaming video games a little bit more with some painting here and there. I just find it's easier for me to lock my head down and paint when I'm doing like batch painting, not on stream. On stream, I'll be doing probably more characters because that's more interesting and something I can sit down, do in 3 hours, not get bored, and yap the whole time while continuing to make progress on the character instead of just 20 skeletons going through step by step. So yeah, that was my haul. I spent more money than I thought I would this year, but on the bright side, it was actually very conservative as far as model count. I did not significantly add to my backlog, which is usually the problem at going to conventions like this. I have a couple of side projects here and there to work on, nothing major. And I do really enjoy all the models I bought. I've recently come around to the, it took me a while to learn, when it comes to Warhammer, buy what you want to paint, and paint that. Do that first. Don't worry about building a good army, a competitive list, or anything. Nobody cares. Buy what you want to paint it. And then once you have a good, solid foundation of a collection, then you can start thinking about, okay, I play my games and I lose. What do I need to add? What can I buy and paint in a reasonable time frame to make me have more fun on the tabletop? But get a solid foundation of boys first. And some armies, it's easier to do that with than others. Space Marines kind of make it difficult. It's better now, but it's still rough. That's part of the reason my Blood Angels army is so bad, is because it's a hodgepodge of other Space Marine kits that don't really flow together well. But we're getting there. I finally figured out a way to paint efficiently, get an airbrush, even a cheap airbrush. Even if you just use it for base coats like me, it'll save you time. And Foul, since you're here and you missed it earlier, I'm going to show off my big medal that I won for playing Spearhead good. I don't really know how I managed to get second in the tournament. All I did was draw the card and do what the card said I needed to do to get points. And then I did that better than my opponent. So, yeah, I placed second. And I didn't even get a prize other than this medal and bragging rights. It is a really big medal, though. I am still tired from the con, so I'm wrapping it up early tonight. Not really going to do any hobbying. Might start streaming on weekends a little bit more, and my weekends are freeing up. So, yeah. Thanks for coming to hang out. And if you're watching this on a VOD, the link to the live stream game for round 2 of the tournament, which was my single tie. I went undefeated, but I did not win every game, and that's how I got second. My single tie, I played on stream over at the Hobby Collab. They are a YouTube channel based out of San Jose in California. They flew all the way out here for Adepticon because it is that big of a convention. They were hosting the stream game, setting everything up. It was a blast to play on stream. I really enjoyed it. Shout outs to those guys for hosting and doing what they do. So go ahead and send them love. Tell them Dave sent you. And take care. I will see you all later in the week. Bye-bye.